the button, but it won't let me hit it.
Done. Right, good evening,
Can
everybody.
somebody mute all?
Oh, I don't know how to do that one. How do I do that one?
Go to participants and hit mute all.
Oh, God, I love you. Done. Okay, so good evening and welcome everybody to our Sunday night call, which is amazing energetically, guys. I just want to share this because the wind is blowing. So if any of our internets do become unstable, do forgive us. And what we decided to do tonight, we're all stepping up and looking at ways that we can help each other with our trainings and make these a little bit more what we're looking for and what we need. So the whole point about this, guys, is it is in fact an opportunity for everybody to contribute. So please feel at any stage, unmute yourself, contribute. This is not just a few of us, you know, saying stuff. This is for everybody. So tonight we were thinking of going through the passion of our stories, okay? The big thing about Isagenix is what makes us tick is the amazing, unique stories that we all bring to the table, okay, guys? And there are two ways of doing this. So what we're going to do to start with is give a little bit of an idea of the template that we've been using in the UK, the 30-second story. And what we thought we'd do is ask a few of our lovelies to go through their 30-second story, which is very simple. It's a template. The whole point about this is it's duplicatable, it's teachable, and it gives all of us an ability not to get into verbal diarrhea, which is something at the end of the day I do frequently. So the idea of the template is before Isagenix, I was introduced to Isagenix by, I've been using Isagenix for, as a result, I now feel, and I now believe and feel. Now, what I want to also do is go through a newer slight change in template later. But first of all, who would like to go first? Either Julia or Leslie or Jan or a few people on, we're going to share their 30-second story to give the rest of you a little bit of an idea of what theirs looks like. Anybody?
See how you did
Okay.
that. Are you going, Julia? No? Right, I'll go. Okay, so it's before. Give me the headings real quick because I've literally just finished with a client, so I'm coming back in again. So I know my 30-second story. You ready? Before Isagenix, I was overweight, not sleeping, exhausted, and running from pillar to post. Then I was introduced to Isagenix by Julia, and I've released 20 kilograms. I've come off my CPAP machine through losing my weight. I've improved my sleep, and I feel phenomenal. I've started to generate income from a business, and I feel brilliant being able to tell people how good I feel, and them actually coming back to me and saying they want to be part of the business as well.
Fab. Thank you for sharing that. That was awesome, Jan. And what I love about this is how everybody progresses because we just love you. You're just gorgeous. So Julia, go for it.
Okay, so in 2013, my youngest son had a life-changing accident. I had to give up a high-powered job in adult education to look after him and focus on his rehabilitation. So I returned to being a self-employed complementary health therapist. I gained weight, I had terrible sleep patterns, really low energy, and just lots of general aches and pains. I was finding it really hard to keep up with life, to be honest. I was introduced to Isagenix by my friends Jane and Jen. And they introduced me because they thought I might like to use it as part of my business to share it with my clients. They didn't actually realise how much I needed the products myself. So since starting on the products, I've released, which I started in May 2017, I've released 22 kilograms. I feel better than I did when I was in my 30s, and that's the honest truth. I really do. I get great sleep and I've got oodles more energy, and I don't struggle to keep up anymore. One of the things that I'm really passionate about is sharing these products with women who are a similar age to me. I'm in my early 50s, because I think far too many believe that life starts to be over and they don't need to feel as old as they do.
Fantastic. Now, again, what everybody's beginning to get an idea of is look at the smiles, okay? Look at the smiles at the end of the day. Hope you can all hear me. Look at the smiles. You know, it's being authentically you with this. If it's not true to you, it doesn't look right. But also, if you're new to this, guys, some of you may be, some of you may not have started your box yet. Some of you may well have ordered it. You can borrow someone else's belief, someone else's story, but you'll know that they're all passionate and slightly different. So over to Leslie, if Leslie's happy to do hers. You need to unmute yourself, Leslie, my darling.
Hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Hello? Yes, perfect. Okay. Right. Before Isagenix, I was struggling with my weight. I was very unhappy, didn't want to go out. Everything was a struggle. I was embarrassed, lost all my confidence, and had resigned myself to aging and really not looking forward to my future. Then a good friend, Bev Parker, introduced me to the products, which I've been using for almost 2 years now. As a result, I am still working towards my ultimate goal, but to date have lost 28 kilos. I have bundles of energy, I'm able to exercise, and was accepted to run the London Marathon this year. Not only do I have my confidence back, I'm me again. I have my life back, I'm happy, feel amazing, and really excited about my future. I'm so passionate about this whole system that I just truly believe everyone should know about Isagenix and deserves the chance to feel as good about themselves as I do.
Fantastic.
That's
See? Fantastic. It's not about that it, Leslie. That's amazing because it's never it. It's just all encompassing the fact that it's truly believably, authentically you with the broad grin that goes with it. So before I do mine, because I wouldn't want to just try and be a bit clever and link it perhaps into giving you two versions. Anybody else want to give theirs? I mean, it's not, you don't have to, but would anybody like to have a go or share theirs? Claire? Anybody? Is anybody waving at me? Don't feel you have to. If not, do not worry. Okay. So nobody's waving. So I'm not putting anybody on the spot. That's not what this is about. So if I do a brief one on that. So before Isagenix, I was living behind a brave face every day. I was struggling to have enough energy by the end of the day for myself, my family, for me. In fact, I'd just become a chameleon for everybody else and there was nothing left of me. I was introduced to Isagenix by my amazing sister-in-law, Sarah, almost 2 years ago now. And a miracle occurred when I started using the products. To my total amazement, as I'd been very cynical before I started, I finally began to find Sophie. I got rid of the mask that had been sitting in front of this brave face for many, many years. And I started actually truly smiling as myself. As a result of this now, I am just flourishing. I've had a few health issues in the last 2 years since I've been on it. And I truly believe that Isagenix has helped me and helped my body be the best version of myself. So I now believe and feel, I'm very passionate about this, that Isagenix gives an opportunity for anybody and everybody to be the best versions of themselves by putting their body first and nourishing that first, which helps their mind, body and soul. So that is obviously, you know, a bit of my 30-second story. Now, what Kathy Coover, and in fact, Eric Worre, and in fact, David Wood, a lot of our personal trainers, they also have come up with an idea to make this a little bit more succinct. Okay. Now, again, there's not a point of confusing everybody with this. This is whatever works for you, but I want to just give you, Heather was going to put up a template of this. We can always share it on afterwards if Heather can't do it. But their suggestion was, as a 4-point, how were things for me before? What was the pain point? What's the solution I have found? And how I feel about the future now. Now, this encompasses getting to your why, your pain point, which may obviously, with the person you're talking to, you're not going to give them, oh, thank you, Heather, you star. So at the end of the day, what the whole point about this is when you're finding out about someone in front of you, the whole point, guys, it's not really about you at that point. It's about them. And that's why by the end of this, you'll have different stories. You'll have a financial story, you'll have an energy story, you'll have a weight loss story, lots of different stories, obviously with the relevance of finding the solution that best fits at the end of the day, the person, the gorgeous entity in front of you. So just to give you an idea, and I only really started working on this today, so forgive me if it's a little bit not as succinct, but you can see the difference with a similar story. I was a busy osteopath, always solving everybody else's problems, but was empty behind my brave face. I hated being something for everybody and nothing left for me, my family and my friends. I was introduced to Isagenix and I literally came out from the mask and the veil lifted. For the first time in many years, I now have the energy to be truly me and to actually walk comfortably in my own shoes. I'm committed to helping others lift their own masks like I did and help them truly be on their own path for themselves as the best version of themselves, to help their bodies help them and enable them to be the best versions of themselves. So it just again, it's not completely done, guys. But again, what we're looking for here is the non-rambling, if that makes sense. You know, it's the verbal diarrhea. You're so passionate, you're so excited about this, and you start a conversation with someone, and by about 5 minutes later, it's like, oh my God, this is, you know, what's she on? So it's that ability at the end of the day to just be authentic, but slightly succinct. And as David would talk about the pain points, if you're sharing your pain points, it's almost more of an emotional journey for people. So it's not just about me. Does that help? Does anybody have anything to add to that? And I have a feeling at Celebration, we may well possibly go through the new format. I don't know. But it's whatever works for you, as long as it's duplicatable so that you can turn around to the guys working with you and give them the same template. There's no magic to this. It's following a remit and a template. Over to you guys. If anybody wants to unmute themselves. It's gone quiet.
Sorry, I couldn't find my unmute button for a minute there. It disappeared under a slide. I think that for me, the second template is when you're out and about and you just come across somebody perhaps new to talk to, or, you know, you get into a conversation. I think that 4-step process makes it really easy to remember. So rather than trying to remember what can sometimes feel like a long script, I really like the shorter version. And I don't know if Jen and Heather have got, because you guys have got way more experience with using the shorter version than we have in the UK. We haven't really seen that one yet.
I just stuck an Isagenix snack in my mouth. I'm cleansing. I'm so used to using the other one. Mine's a blended version. That's all. But speaking, like Leslie, you really described the pain point in the way you felt. I think that's the biggest difference, is really being descriptive in the pain point, because that's, people have got to feel you to follow you. They've got to feel, wow, I was really, and it's not a pity party kind of dip. It's just that this is what it was. I found a solution, and this is how it's been since, and that's the power of it. So my brain, I kind of do a blend of both, because I've, you know, done the old one for 9 years.
Will you do yours for us, Jen, so that everybody can hear it?
Which one, business or health? Someone tell me.
Both.
All right, business. Before Isagenix, I had a really successful career traveling around the world as a professional speaker. I'd been a naturopath for more than 20 years. I'd also been a small business operator where I held between 80 to 100 grand's worth of stock on hand for 20 years. That's like a house deposit tied up every year for 20 years. I was at a gig in Sydney, was introduced to Isagenix by a woman in the audience who's become a great friend, Heather. And it's been 9 years. And the thing that excites me most is that nowadays I run a more successful business. I'm a more holistic practitioner, because I also deal with people's number one stresses, which was also mine at the time, which was money and time worries. And now I run my business from anywhere in the world with my mobile phone. I'm so excited that everyone's got options nowadays. That's it. So before Isagenix, I had a really successful life traveling around the world on and off planes and time zones and things as a professional. My energy. So I was hand blending my own herbal tonics to be able to have my body keep up with me. And then I was introduced to Isagenix by a friend Heather, who was in one of my audiences one day, and looked at the products and went, far out. They're using the same herbs and enzymes and everything that I'd written about in books and been teaching about around the world. And I went, wow, that's just like so cool. I eventually got off my naturopath ego, gave it a go. And after a couple of weeks, people started to say, Jen, you've always had a lot of energy, but this has actually just gotten silly. What are you doing? And then I went, wow, like if I can take my energy to a different depth, so can others. So I'm really excited that I can help people feel at 57, like seriously, good luck keeping up with me. That's it.
Love it, Jen.
It's not word for word every time. It literally flows, but I just know the basic kind of structure. So whatever comes out, depending on who I'm talking to, is what comes out at the time. But if you just understand the structure, you'll drop your pieces of your story into that each time. The sun is out.
We've got sun out here too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm happy to jump in and share mine, guys, if you like. So the business one, it's a funny story, really. A number of years ago, both my husband and I he was in building, I was in the corporate world, and we really were not happy with the kind of people that we were working with, aligning with, and the values that they had. And I look back at that and I remember that, getting stressed and unhappy, and even upset to the extent of crying, in meetings and stuff like that. It just really wasn't the way I wanted to live my life. And so then when we came across this and realized that here was something that I could actually work around my life, and I could enjoy it and have fun, work with my husband, and build an income that provides us the opportunity to really live and work wherever we want to be. And most importantly for us at the moment, be in Sydney and be around our adorable 2 little grandsons. So it's just the perfect situation for us now. So that's the business one. The health one, goodness, 7 years ago, I was overweight, unfit, unhealthy. And I decided I wanted to climb Kilimanjaro. I got on this program to drop the weight and have the energy to train. I got my body in a state where I was able to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. I dropped a number of kilos, got my energy back. And the biggest part about my story is the fact that I was able to maintain that for 6 years. So 6 years later, I've now got into running, ran my 3rd half marathon yesterday, and feel the fittest that I've ever felt. And I'm the same size, weight, and fitness that I was 6 years ago. So maintenance is my key, and I just love being able to help other people do the same. So that's me, guys.
Thank you, guys. And also from seeing it from blue skies in the background rather than our hurricane outside. So basically with this, because the whole point about our Sunday calls is that, it's very precious time, and we very much thank Heather and Jen from the other side of the world and everybody for jumping on. So why don't we were thinking also along these lines of setting a little bit of accountability that goes along with this. Now, this isn't competing with each other. This is just setting yourself, depending on what your goals, your dreams are, and setting yourselves at a target. So on our little Friday coffee chat, we were having a suggestion that we would each set. The whole point about this is our stories. Our stories are the stories of Isagenix. So they're also the stories that empower us to help other people with the passion that we've got along the way. Isagenix isn't for everybody. We're not in the convincing game, and we're not professing to sell, treat or cure illness. And we're all very protective over that, guys. So we're careful with the language we use. So 2 things, I believe. Number 1, each of us on the call, if you want to practice your 30-second stories, you can always text them, ring us. You can, if you're feeling a bit nervous, you can do a face messenger, text, ring, leave a voice message. God, that's what I'm looking for. And talk to each other, be there for each other, to hone the 30-second stories that are ours. or to borrow some belief, if you're new to this, from other people, okay? Which is really important, because the not having verbal diarrhea gives you an ability to have the belief behind what you're saying and share it. And the other thing is, Janet said beautifully on Friday, because she's such a rock star, was that she very much started by sharing with a few people per week, and that she'd upped her game. So quickly, if you're happy, Janet, sorry to put you on the spot, but over to you as to what we sort of like decided on Friday would be a good idea to give people some things to do if you're happy, Janet.
Yep. So on Friday, I was leaping in between clients, but we were looking at where we were at the very beginning and how many clients we were going to speak to, how many people were going to speak to on a daily basis. And I'd agreed I was going to speak to 5. I've actually spoken to 22 people today, and I'm exhausted. But I'm on 2 shots today, so I'm doing well. And I've just finished a sign-up that I'm finishing on Wednesday. Oh, sorry, my phone's going up at the same time. So yes, from the conversation we had on Friday, everything has snowballed, and I just have not stopped. Julia keeps sending me messages telling me, yeah, keep going, push through, like I'm doing a marathon. I think I am. And like I say, I've got 22 people that I've spoken to today, and literally booted a lady out at 10 to 9 this evening who's signing up with me on Wednesday. And she was a client from my very first sign-up who dropped off, and she's come back and she's seen me doing this for over a year and a half, and she's re-signed up to go again.
That's awesome. And again, the key with this is to have some fun. This is, you know, if it's all the monotone of I love Isagenix because it's changed my life, I really don't think anyone's going to do it. Okay. So the difference, and we were also talking on Friday about getting involved in the passion that drives each of us. Okay. So what we may well do next week is go through a little bit more of someone like Jackson Parr's cake recipe, finding out a little bit more behind individuals. Okay, and why? Because it's about them, not us. So part of us, we're doing a little bit of a reverse logic on Friday, which is one of my favorite things. And each of the girls beautifully shared why. So where would they be now, as in when they started? Where would they be to get them again back involved with the emotional side of this? Because the amazing thing about this, guys, is it is emotional. Because if you've had an amazing experience, which everybody on this call has, it's life-changing. It's epiphanictic. Not for everybody at the time that they're doing it, but you never know, another day it may be their time. So Janet's beautifully stepped out of her comfort zone. She's fitted it in around a beautiful conversation, because if you put the energy in, guys, your vibe attracts your tribe. So if you're open in who you are and what you're doing, you will attract people who want to hear about where's this vibrancy coming from? Who is this person in front of them? Absolutely doing an amazing job. And I want some of that. So again, one of the ideas was for each of us, there are accountability sheets you can use, but let's keep it really simple. Each of us set ourselves a target of how many people. It may be 1 person in the week. It may be 5 people a day. It may be 20. It doesn't matter, but it's sharing that Isagenix story. And you can also count if you leave a voice message on one of our voice messages. Practice your 30-second stories on each of us, and we will on you, because the slicker and the most amazing thing about this, the better we get at doing this, the better we'll do. And Janet's just a beautiful expression of this. She's such a rock star that she's come from not really wanting to say much, and now look at her. She's just so beautiful in her own vibe and her own energy. And that's something that we can all help you with. So before time comes out, because obviously we're not going to run late tonight, because all of our time is very special and very essential. I hope that's been of help. Would anybody like to share anything? Heather, Jen, would you like to share anything before we all go?
I'd love to just share something really quickly, Soph, which is what you're doing is so perfect, is everybody getting their stories and then sharing them in the real world. And, you know, we can perfect our story and say it over and over again to ourselves and put it on recordings. But as soon as you just find yourself with some sort of starting block, and, you know, it's a funny story really, is what I just started with before, is just telling people your story. You'll find the more you do it, the easier it will become. And the other thing I just wanted to share is from one of our events recently, was just the simple 3 things of finding people to talk to, creating your list, and then sharing your story, making sure your story is clear, and then outsourcing. So whether that's outsourcing to with a video, sending someone a video, sending someone information, having a one-on-one call, or linking any one of you in for a three-way call. It's really that simple. And the more you do that, you'll get the results just like Jan has with talking to, over 20 people and, having a sign up and another one for next week. So this week. So it happens, and it's just keeping on track with those three things: finding people to talk to, sharing the story, and then looking at what do you share with them next? How do you outsource this to bring it to them getting started? So it's super simple, and I love what you guys have done tonight. It's been brilliant. So thanks a million.
Yeah, same. And I'll just add to that we all get to learn these skills, and these skills actually, relate to even your massage business, Janet. So it's like people go, well, what do you do? Well, I'm an aromatherapist. But before that, I did it. The same skill set fits to every business, which is really cool. Leslie, the Queen of Dogs story. Like you can run it to any kind of business, which is really cool. But it's a skill to learn. I'd never done any of this before Isagenix, before 9 years ago, but I promise it's worth it. And let yourselves be messy. David Wood says, every master was once a disaster, including me, and we all have been, and still, make mistakes, but I'm just totally okay with making mistakes. Like you can't, I wrote in the Facebook group yesterday, how'd you learn the ABCs? You sang it or said it over and over and over again until you could do it. That's it. And now it's in your brain so solid you can all do your ABCs. But as a kid, your brain thought it was going to explode trying to learn your bloody ABCs. That's it. And when you've got your story, David teaches at University in Action, one of the coolest things to do is to ring up your prospects or leave a voicemail and just say, hey, my mentor has challenged me just to really refine this. I'd love a couple of pieces of feedback, what you loved about it or something that I can tweak. And you share your story on it. I can't tell you how often that comes across with people going, well, I need that. It's a cool way to share Isagenix with people, is just to share your story with people that you love and trust and everything, and ask for 2 bits of feedback, one that you could tweak and one that you loved, so that you're and do it cool with no hooks. If they say, wow, I'm actually interested too, that's great. That's a bonus. But don't go in there thinking, and you're going to sign up. That's not what it's about. But really share it that way. It's an awesome way to do it. It's a challenge that David always does on University in Action. So just thought I'd throw that in as well. But awesome, guys. Great to see you guys stepping up and doing this.
Thanks, guys. So again, a couple of you are asking for the new template. What I think the best thing to do is what Heather will do, or any of us can do, is we'll share it. And again, the key is not to get worried or confused by this. There isn't a right or wrong. As Jen said, one perhaps is a bit more succinct than the other. One might suit you better than the other. It's just any way of getting involved in your pain points. But what we'll do is we'll put that up in the leadership so you can see it personally and see whether those 4 questions suit you a little bit better. And again, a couple of you are saying, we need some help. We're all here. So again, this is very easy, guys. You can either pick who you'd like to do it with. You can either do what David Wood used to say is ring it through. So not being funny on our messenger, most of us are Facebook friends. Leave a message. Hi, it's Sophie. I want to share my story with you. What do you think? And we can then all give some reflection back and some love and some amazement for each of us stepping up to do it. Because the fact that you're getting out your comfort zone and doing it is really special. Some people find it really hard sharing themselves with anybody. So anything that you can do at the end of the day is putting you forward. And again, think one question, guys, before we go. Where would you be if whoever introduced you to Isagenix didn't do it? And they've been too nervous to share their story with you. Even if their story hadn't been articulate and perfect, okay? Where would you be now, 2 years nearly for us, the UK market coming up in May? Where would you be now if it hadn't have been shared with you? And if that makes your tummy bobble and rubble like mine does, and my God, from a health perspective, sometimes I don't know where I'd be without Isagenix, as it's beautifully helping me heal my leg because it's helping my body be the best version of myself, is that, guys, think about that point first. Where would you be now if you were still where you were 2 years ago? part of it again is getting involved with the beauty of you. We're all beautiful individuals, beautiful expressions, and our body and our gut chemically is what gives us who we are. We're supporting our bodies now. That's making a difference. If you get involved with that, even if you just blur that out on a Facebook message, even if you do that to each of us, one of us, a few of us, it doesn't matter. We're here to build on our stories and borrow each other's stories, because it may be that someone's story really suits the person in front of you, and that's going to be relevant. So I hope that's been all right. So basically, at the end of the day, what we'll do is we'll sign off now. Look, just past half. Look at that for time management. I think we've done very well with that. So have an amazing week, everybody. Again, how many people can you share this with? How many of us would you like to trial your story on? We're here every step of the way. And again, getting people to add, is there anything you guys want to do next Sunday? Or would you like us to do? Would anyone like to step up and do it? I've stepped out of my comfort zone and done one tonight, and I'm still alive. So anybody. But I'll finish the recording. Have an amazing week, everybody. Everybody say goodbye. And we're all here for you if you need us.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.